Okay, so it's time to preview round 14 of the NRL season. Crikey, we're this far into the season already. We're about halfway. We're already into the origin period. Full fixture list this weekend. Only the Roosters have a bye, so every other team will play. Some teams are now in must-win territory, and I do mean that some teams just cannot afford a defeat at this time. It is very congested in the bottom half of the table. A couple of wins can get you in the top eight. So if a team can hit a bit of form now, they can go on a bit of a run. They can turn their seasons around. Other teams just need to find a bit of consistency, and some teams want to just continue that winning momentum that they have. We could see the Bulldogs lose top spot if they have a bad performance this weekend. For example, if the Raiders or the Warriors get a win, we could see a new team at the top of the NRL ladder. So without any further ado, let's begin. The Knights Sea Eagles starts the action this weekend. Knights coming off the back of that poor defeat to the Dragons. The Sea Eagles coming off the back of that really good dominating win over the Broncos. Both sides are an enigma this season. The Knights are just bad, and it is must-win territory for the Knights. The Sea Eagles just need to find a bit of consistency. It'll be interesting to see if Jake and Tom Trbojevic play for the Sea Eagles, considering they missed last weekend due to injury. The Knights, I just don't know what the Knights are going to dish up, but they need to win this game. If they lose this game, I think that's their season done. They've been inconsistent over the last month. They've had some good wins, but then they follow up a good win with a shocking defeat. The Sea Eagles just need to find a bit of consistency. The Sea Eagles should be a top 8 side with the talent they have available, but they've also been a bit inconsistent so far this season. Really intriguing one. I think more pressure's on the Knights than the Sea Eagles. The Knights' form has been dreadful this season. They started the season brightly with 2 wins, and then it's been all over the place since then. The Knights have the weakest attack in the league as well. So this is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be interesting to see who starts at fullback for the Knights. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Sea Eagles put out. Is Jake Trbojevic fit enough to start? Is Tom Trbojevic fit enough to start? That's going to be interesting. A lot of speculation about Cherry Evans' form, and yes, he did have a good response at the weekend against the Broncos, but he had a poor Origin one. It's an interesting one, but it's pretty much a must-win for both sides. The Sea Eagles want to build some momentum and compete for the top 8. The Knights just want to win. So it's going to be an interesting one, but the Knights are really shaky defensively as well. The Storm Cowboys is the second game of the weekend. Both teams coming off wins. The Storm were a little bit scrappy against the Titans, admittedly in shocking conditions. The Cowboys were in a very commanding position against the Tigers and nearly lost up in North Queensland in Townsville. Both sides can score points. So this could be a high-scoring game. The Cowboys just need to tighten up a little bit defensively. Purdue moving into the halves. I think that experiment is starting to work. Laybutt's back in, obviously, in the centres. 2 very young, talented players. Purdue spent most of the season at left centre because Laybutt's recovered from his knee injury. But defensively, the Cowboys need to tighten up a little bit. They've got some good energy. They're a very young, talented side. The Storm's an interesting one because they've been a little bit inconsistent in the last 5-6 weeks as well. Obviously, they're pre-season favourites, but as we know, both sides can score points. This could be a high-scoring game. Hopefully, the weather conditions are a lot better for the Storm this weekend, just to see what they can do in good conditions. It's interesting to see how Cameron Munster performs. He didn't have the best game against the Titans, and the Storm were a little bit scrappy against the Titans. Admittedly, the conditions did have a part to play, but it's going to be a fun game. The Storm obviously want to try and get the minor premiership, and they are the favourites for the overall premiership. The Cowboys are a dark horse, and if the Cowboys can build a bit of momentum and a bit more confidence, they could be a bit of a sleeper for a top 4 spot. So this is actually a good litmus test for both sides to see where they're actually at. There's a little bit of inconsistency with both sides as well, in even when they're winning their performances. So it's going to be a bit interesting. The Storm do also need to tighten up on the errors and a little bit defensively. They were a little bit sloppy against the Titans last week. The Dolphins Dragons is another enigma. Both sides need to win this game. Both sides are chronically inconsistent. Both sides have proven they can score points. Dragons coming off the back of a really good performance against the Knights. The Dolphins, obviously coming off the back of the bye. Both sides, as I say, are chronically inconsistent. I think they're better than what their position on the ladder suggests. Both sides have got some very young, talented players. It's going to be interesting what the Dolphins do coming off the bye and how fresh they're going to be, because obviously they didn't play last week. The Dragons, apart from Jaden Sewer having a little ankle niggle, they're looking pretty good in regards to some of these combinations starting to work. The veteran players like Gutherson and Damien Cook they brought in are starting to settle. It's going to be interesting, though, how they start the game. The Dragons, if they can win back-to-back games, that changes things in the bottom half of the table, puts pressure on other sides. And the Dolphins, as I say, coming off the bye, it's going to be interesting how quickly they start the game. They've got some very talented attacking assets. They can score a lot of points, but they are chronically inconsistent. And game management is an issue for both sides as well. It'll be a fun game, though, a fun game up in Brisbane. Then the Sharks Warriors is the next game on the ticket. Sharks coming off the bye, Warriors coming off the back of a tight win over the Bunnies. The Warriors, they have had a very good season. They would like to tighten up a little bit defensively. Their attack is improving. Their attack is one of the more anemic attacks in the league. They don't score a massive amount of points, but defensively they're very good. They scored 36 points against the Bunnies but conceded 30, so that would be a little bit of a concern defensively. They're a lot more structured now than what they were several years ago, so they've got a bit more structure and control in their game. They still like to throw the ball around and get wide quick. The Sharks, coming off the back of a bye, I think is important. They've got a few players out with injury. Their outside backs are a little bit light at the moment with injury and suspension. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Sharks set up their outside backs. There's a few injuries also for the Sharks in the forward pack as well. And it's a good test for the Sharks' depth. If the Sharks are serious about being a top 4 contender, I think this is going to be a good litmus test. The Warriors are playing really, really well. Look at the Warriors' record. Away from home is ridiculous. The Warriors have a great away record as well. This is going to be a good litmus test for both sides and a test of their premiership credentials, because these are two sides fighting for a top 4 spot. The Warriors potentially could get top spot if results go their way, or their for and against is not as good as the Raiders or the Bulldogs in regards to points differential. They need the Raiders and the Bulldogs to have 2 heavy defeats, but the opportunity is there to tie for top spot for the Warriors. The opportunity for the Sharks is there to get back in the top 4. This is going to be a really interesting game. Good litmus test for 2 premiership contenders so far this season. Then we go to the Broncos-Titans, 2 sides that are having disappointing, disastrous seasons. The Broncos are falling apart, and the Titans underperforming, I think is a good way to look at it. Both sides are outside the top 8. The Broncos form has nosedived. There's a lot of concerns around the culture of the Broncos team. Michael Maguire's a coach under a little bit of pressure in his first season now at the Broncos after a bright start to the season. It's gone horribly, horribly wrong. The Titans just haven't really got going under Des Hasler in the time Des Hasler's been there. The talent is there for both sides. Both sides can score points, but lately the Broncos have just been putting in dud performances. The performance against the Seagulls for the Broncos was one of the worst Broncos performances we've seen in some time. Yes, there's some injuries for the Broncos, but it's not been what we expect from the talent available to this side, and especially how they started the season, especially that big win against the Roosters. Much more was expected of the Broncos. They are massively underperforming. The Titans just haven't really got going this season or last season. They've been very disappointing. And Des Hasler is another coach under a lot of pressure. So we could actually have a very high-scoring, fun game, or we could have a scrappy game. But both sides, this is a must-win. This is a must-win. As I say, 2 or 3 wins in a row, and suddenly the bottom 9 completely changes. It's a very congested bottom half of the table. And if like the Titans can get a win or the Broncos get a win, it completely shakes up that bottom half of the table. But both sides massively underperforming. This could be a scrappy game, or it could be a very entertaining game, high scoring. The recent record is pretty even between the 2 sides. It's Queensland Derby. That normally raises the game, but both sides massively underperforming from what we should expect with the young, talented players they have available in their rosters. The Raiders Bunnies down in Canberra. The Raiders are having a fantastic season. They're just on a grind at the moment. They play an exciting brand. They're willing to get wide and use the speed and youth of their outside backs. Powerful forward pack. The Bunnies, Considering where they were last season, Wayne Bennett has managed to turn this side around, but they are coming off the back of a close defeat to the Warriors last week. But the Bunnies have got some good performances in them. They've got some point scoring. Alex Johnson is trying to chase down that try scoring record. He could do it by the end of this season if he scores enough tries. It will definitely be broken next season. This is going to be a fun litmus test for both sides. The Bunnies need to respond to that close defeat, and the Raiders want to keep winning. And the Raiders, their objective is top spot. They can get top spot. So this is a very, very interesting matchup. A side in a rebuild versus a side in a rebuild, and both sides are playing better this season than was anticipated. No one thought the Raiders were going to be this good, but they're a team with confidence, youth, and power in the forward pack. The Bunnies are playing better than what was expected. They are a team in transition. They are still missing players through injury. They are an enigma because they can be good, they can be bad. They had a good start to the season, then their form's wobbled a little bit. They've been a little bit inconsistent, but they're very competitive. There's points in this game. There is points in this game. It's going to be interesting to see how Latrell Mitchell performs again at fullback. I personally think Latrell Mitchell's better in the centres, but Wayne Bennett's put him at fullback again. It's going to be interesting how he performs. There's a lot of, can he just perform well consistently, because he can go missing in games. He can have that dud game where he's inconsistent. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. And it'll be interesting to see what the weather conditions are like in Canberra this time of year. They can be a bit chilly, bit wet, bit all over the place. It can be warm, but it can get cold. Does that give home field advantage to the Raiders? We shall see. But that's a fun matchup. The Rabbitohs, the Bunnies, they've had a really strong first half of the season from what was expected. They are playing a lot better than what was expected. They are a dark horse for the top 8. The Raiders, one of the favourites at the moment for the minor premiership with the way they're playing. Can they consistently keep it up? It's going to be an interesting one. The Tigers-Panthers is a must-win for both sides. The Panthers are coming off the back of that hard-fought win over the Eels, and they played really well in that second half. The Tigers, disappointing narrow defeat to the Cowboys. They've got points in them. The Panthers are obviously trying to get some momentum going. One win completely changes the bottom half of the table. It's a rivalry matchup between the Tigers and the Panthers in Western Sydney. This has the potential to be quite a fiery encounter. The Panthers are under pressure. They are underperforming. Although recently their form, while it's been a little bit inconsistent, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, they're playing better than what they were. And all their Origin players last week really came back and played like they were playing in 2023 or 2024 form. So that confidence from those Origin players definitely helped the Panthers last week in a fighting match against the Eels. This could be a fun one. If the Panthers can build upon last week, it could be a very interesting game. This is the Tigers post Lockie Galvin. So it's going to be interesting to see how their combinations work, but it's a fun matchup. There's a lot of ex-Panthers in the Tigers side, for example. There's a couple of ex-Tigers in the Panthers side. So it's a really interesting matchup. And we could have a high-scoring game. The Panthers have been a bit weak defensively this year. The Tigers have points in them, but also can concede a lot of points, but are much better defensively this year. They are a much better side this year than last year. Their form recently has tailed off since Lockie Galvin's contract saga. So it's an interesting one. Tigers at home. Western Sydney derby. It's going to be fun. The Panthers are a team under more pressure than the Tigers. The Tigers have had a lot of negative headlines in recent weeks. Let's just focus on the game, but it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. And as I say, if the Panthers can just get a couple of wins, they're a top 8 side because it's that close at the bottom of the NRL ladder. The final game of the weekend is the Bulldogs-Eels. The Eels coming off the back of that narrow defeat to the Panthers. They've shown some fight in recent weeks. Their performances have massively improved. Their defence is a lot tighter. Their attack is a lot better. Lomax and Moses back in the side has massively helped them. The Bulldogs, let's see how Lockie Galvin does if he's played in the side or not. It's going to be an interesting one with the Bulldogs. I mean, I feel sorry for Toby Sexton and Reid Marnie, but they've decided to go with Lockie Galvin as their latest mid-season signing. It's going to be interesting how they slot him into the side and how he beds in. Do they start with Toby Sexton? Do they bring Galvin off the bench? We don't know. Will this disrupt their season? They are currently at the top of the NRL ladder. They've had a fantastic start to the season. Their systems work really well. Their energy, their commitment, their defence While recently their defence has been a little bit more suspect, they're still scoring points. They're finding ways to win when they are behind at half time. They are a very, very tough team to beat. So the only major concern is how will Lockie Galvin perform? How will he slot in? The Eels, I mean, look, the Eels are showing some fight. This could be a fun game. This could be a really fun game. There's a lot of unknowns. The Eels are still rebuilding. They've still got a ways to go to rebuild, but they're buying in to Jason Ryall's system. They look a better side with Moses and Lomax in there. They had a good Origin 1. They showed that with their performance against the Panthers. That was a hard fought contest. This looks like a very, very fun matchup. There could be points in here. This is, I think, going to be a close game. This is going to be a big test for the Bulldogs coming off the bye, and the Eels, they're going to want to get back to winning ways because they've started to actually build a little bit of form lately. They're off the bottom of the ladder. Going to be a fun game. The Roosters have the bye this week, which is a shame because I actually like watching the Roosters play. They're an exciting side to watch play as a neutral. I've been following some of their young players, and especially not Mark Nwanga-Nitawase. He's been a find for the Roosters, so he's been a great pickup, and he's had a great start to the season. He's an exciting player, so it's a shame we can't see the Roosters this weekend, but they've got the bye. Again, that's a free 2 points, and that again really alters the bottom half of the table with how the buys have worked over this first bit of the Origin period. But there's some fun matchups. There are some teams, much like the Panthers and the Knights and the Sea Eagles, that are in must-win territory in order to try and salvage their season. Some sides just need to find a bit of consistency, and other sides just want to keep winning, like the Raiders, for example, and the Warriors. They're challenging the Bulldogs now for that top spot. I mean, the Bulldogs have had a fantastic start to the season, and a bit of pressure might push them on a little bit, or will they buckle? Because the Bulldogs, no one expected them to be the top team at this point. They were expected to be a top 8 side, but not this good. So we'll see how Lockie Galvin's introduction impacts them. But there we go. There's a round 14 preview. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on the upcoming weekend's action in the NRL in the comments section below. I'll have some more content for you all very, very soon.